WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, we are, and we got Jeremy Odom back in the fold. Jeremy, how we doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Just talking ball here.
Yes,
Talking
you
ball.
are.
Talking
yes,
ball.
you are.
Talking March.
The chart topping. That was your podcast, right?
Yes,
the Laugh With Me podcast.
Yep, Laugh With Me. Find us on iTunes, charts, everywhere.
I was going to say you launched a YouTube channel as well.
That's right.
So,
and we've got a big season 2 premiere coming very soon for Laugh With
Love
Me.
that.
He's got to show us how to do that YouTube thing.
He really does.
We've been after it for a while, and we're monetizing all the things. We're all the things. But I still feel like we could get to that next level. We got to level up. We got to be like Jeremy here. That's why we got him on the show.
That's why we got him on the show. I love it.
Well, let's dive into another game tipping off here today, and that is the North Carolina Tar Heels taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Alabama is the 4 seed taking on the 1 seed, North Carolina. And let's see here. North Carolina, depending on where you're looking, 4.5 point favorite, 5 point favorite. We'll start with you, Jeremy. How are you measuring this one up? What are your initial thoughts?
Well, they're the more complete team. They're the team that you know a little more of what they're going to be when they show up on tonight. But Alabama, on the other hand, man, I don't know. Both teams like to run. And I just don't know. They're inconsistent. North Carolina, I like them at 4.5. I like the fact that we know what we're getting with them. We've seen them against some really top-tier opponents in the ACC. I don't know. I'm going with North Carolina on this.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is an 8:40 tip-off on CBS, so it's going to be one of the later games, and you're going to have to stay up for. And North Carolina does have, I would say, a more complete resume. Obviously, they're the 1 seed here, but the Tide's not far behind.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming out of that 4 seed.
Yeah, the Crimson Tide are one of the highest scoring teams in the country, but where I feel that North Carolina is really going to pull away from, they do not play a lick of defense, I don't believe. Alabama did not play well against Grand Canyon in their last game, and they were very lucky the Lobes had an off shooting night. North Carolina rolled to victory against Wagner in their first game, then overcame a second-half deficit in a blowout with Michigan State, which a lot of people had them busting that bracket right there with the Spartans over the Tar Heels. So I love how they came back against Michigan State, a very well-coached team, a very good team in the Big Ten. But I think the Tar Heels really pull away with this one in the second half. They have the superstars, Amanda Babcock and R.J. Davis. Very well, solid rebounding team. Alabama can stay with any opponent with their offense, but I just do believe with all those other factors, North Carolina pulls away in the end. I believe the -4.5, -5 is a lock. Probably my favorite game today to bet on.
All right. R.J. Davis is loving that NIL too.
No doubt.
He's got like 3 or 4 national commercials now working out for him. So, good for that young man. I just hope he keeps his head in the game though. And so far, so good.
Yeah, averaging 22 points a game, 4 rebounds and 4 assists. His head's in the game.
He's doing all right.
He's the man.
Right. No, going back last week to that Michigan State game where Michigan State did get up on him. That was one of those deals where you got the big screen going and then you got all the little screens around it. And, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be that guy. I need this game on the big screen now. Could you switch it over?
Could we switch that one, please?
So then I finally get my way, and then North Carolina just runs away with it, ends up blowing them out. Like I was shocked at the beginning of the game, and then I was a little shocked that Michigan State just couldn't hang in there and nurse their lead at least, and keep it close. But North Carolina just blew them out.
Yeah, and one of my best player props for this game, Andy, is Armando Babcock, the big guy for North Carolina, over 11.5 rebounds. I don't believe anybody with Alabama can bang with this guy. 12 rebounds should be a layup for this guy. -105 on most sportsbooks right now. I believe that is an over hit. So make sure you get to your sportsbook. Armando Babcock, over 11.5 rebounds. I believe it's a lock.
Now, Jeremy, that's over his average. He's averaged just over 10 per game on the season. How do you feel about that?
I love it. I mean, like you were just saying, their defense, Alabama, I don't know that they practice defense.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they just.
I think Armando's going to get some
It's a shoot
offensive
around at
rebounds.
practice.
I mean, I really wanted to sidestep that. No, I didn't. Everybody's beating up on the SEC, so let's get our jabs in there too.
They have to while we can.
Yep, they don't play defense.
Yeah,
they were 1-5 at one point in the round of 32.
No doubt.
Headlined by Kentucky and their
They're
collapse.
still shook from Nick Saban leaving.
Is that what it is?
It's got to be
shook.
what it is.
Everybody's shook.
Yep.
They're just reeling. Oh, and everybody feels so bad for the
I
SEC.
feel bad for them.
All righty, should we move on to another matchup here?
I think we're all on North Carolina.
Yep.
And those big men in the paint there for North Carolina.
I got one more fact.
Let's do it.
Just
Here
one
we go.
little stat, and this is going to help you with the over.
Yeah.
I saw 173.5 is what I was seeing on the
Yes,
over
sir.
for the game.
Yep.
North Carolina has hit the over in non-conference games. They're 10-2-1.
Wow.
In the last 13.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I like that a lot. And that includes the Michigan State game.
Yeah, obviously that total is way up from all the other games that we're going to talk about, but that is because the Alabama defense gives up so much points. But like we just said, alluding to North Carolina, they have the scores to do this. So I believe that Alabama, even if they push this game just a little bit with their offensive, how good they are, this can get to this total. So I'm there as well.
And that's what North Carolina's here to do.
No doubt.
They're here
to score.
They really are like Showtime on the
doubt.
collegiate level. They want to fill up the cup and have fun. And Alabama kind of plays right into that. Like, oh, we'll run with you.
Shoot.
Yeah,
we'll
we can do that too.
Good luck to you.
Okay, right on,
Love
guys.
it. Yeah, I love that point.
All righty. Let's move on to Iowa State taking on Illinois. This is two teams that are playing their best basketball right now.
Yeah.
You hear that and you talk about that, but Iowa State's won their last 5. Illinois won their last 5 with wins in the conference tournament over Nebraska, who was hot. Let's give them their flowers a little bit here. And then Wisconsin had that late surge there, and Illinois is like, that was nice. That was a nice story there. But we're going to take home this championship right now.
Yeah.
And they look pretty good in the opening round there of the NCAA tournament. And let's see here. Iowa State. This is a tight game, unlike the other ones that we've been talking about. For the 9-10 tip-off on TBS, the Cyclones are your 1.5 favorite. Jeremy, how are you leaning on this one?
Man, are we thinking that the run that Illinois had is about to just...
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
And why do I always, when I think Iowa State, I think back of all those games where they've been upset and they've been a 2 seed, they've been a 3 seed.
doubt.
I can't get that out of my head, right?
All you can think
so
about.
I always assume they're going to lose. They are playing incredibly well. We got to see them right here in Omaha.
Yeah.
But man, I got to think Illinois' run is ending soon. I like Iowa State to win the game.
Okay.
I think the 1.5's low.
Yeah,
Really?
Like really low.
Wow.
Yeah, as an Illinois bettor, I would like to get more juice on this line for sure. I would like it +3, +4.5, because it really should be that with the body of work that Iowa State has done lately. Obviously, Iowa State is the more balanced team, more consistent team, should get the edge with the odds makers, like we were just alluding to. Illinois has had extreme highs, but also has come out flat at times.
They've looked
and
terrible.
has bizarre losses.
Yeah, they look terrible.
on that.
You can't explain some of those losses away.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but that Illinois is playing great ball right now. The offense is clicking, scoring 85 or more points in 4 straight games. I just believe that this team... I think Iowa State's riding a little high. I believe that they're riding a little high. I think everybody's looking up to them as the Big 12 savior. I still don't consider Houston in the Big 12. Am I the only one that
always
thinks like
confuses
that?
me.
It always confuses me. Obviously, they're number 1 seed. They're in the Big 12, but with Kansas out, I believe most people are looking at the Cyclones saying, "Okay, you got the helm now. Can you take down this Big 10 team?" And I really don't think they can. I'm going money line Illinois. I believe Illinois takes this game down, knocks these Cyclones out for good.
I got a lot of friends that went to Iowa State or root for Iowa State, being in this area, living in this area for so long. And when they talk Hilton Magic and all that stuff, like I don't even put up an argument. I'm like, yes, Hilton Magic is real. I mean, you better believe it, right? Yeah. But that's the thing here. You're not playing at the Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. You're playing on a neutral field, and you're playing against a team that, stacks up against you very well. In my mind, with the Illinois, the dirty guy, cousin from Illinois, whatever they say in that parody song. And both teams are working on a 30-win season here. So, you talk about Illinois and some of those weird losses. I don't think Iowa State has as bad as losses.
Definitely not.
And I also, you brought up Houston. I really like that win they just had a couple weeks ago.
No doubt about it.
69-41.
No doubt about it.
Now,
beating a 1 seed that bad.
And I don't care what those, your pundits were saying about, well, Houston, they got down and it snowballed and this. I don't care. You got blown out on a big stage.
Yeah.
And they were favored. They were big favorites in that game.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm not trying to dispute the fact that Iowa State has been very, very good down the stretch, which they have in all season. But I think people are alluding to that Illinois hasn't been that good, and they really have been, in my eyes.
Yeah.
In a tough Big Ten stretch at the end of the year, they beat Ohio State, which was surging at the end of the year, a surging Nebraska team that they beat twice at the end of the year, and then Wisconsin by 6. So I believe that this team is just as good as anybody in the Big 12. Anybody in the Big Ten, and I really believe that they are going to win this game.
That money line bet's at a plus 110 for Illinois.
Yes, sir.
If you're looking at Iowa State, you got a minus 135. That's not too juicy, is it?
No doubt.
No, not at all.
Not at all?
No.
How about this over-under, 146.5?
I don't know.
I don't like it.
It's okay to, and we say this all the time, it's okay to sidestep.
It's okay to sidestep it. But the way that I think about college basketball, I always will go over. And with Illinois, that has been the case, scoring 89, 85, 93, 98 in their last games, Andy. But you got to look at Iowa State. Can they do their portion, only scoring 67 points against Washington State, and then, like you said, 69 against Houston in that blowout win. So I believe that they can probably do it, but it's not a game that I'm going to be betting the over-under on. Just that money line bet for me.
I don't really like that. I don't really like that over either. And part of the reason is Gilbert, the leading scorer for Iowa State's only averaging 13 points per game.
They're not flashy. They're not flashy.
They're not flashy at all. All these teams that we've talked about, previously, their leading scorer is 21, 23 points per night. Here's the guy that's 10 points behind that. Leading his team. So that kind of
just look at Terrence Shannon Jr. over on Illinois, averaging 23 and 4 rebounds, and then Domasic is averaging 16 points. So they got the scores. I'm not disputing that. I just don't know if Iowa State's good defense and their scoring ability gets this over.
Well, you heard the horn, so that means we're up against it. But let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.